Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our fourth segment of our RGV CanvasWarriors.com podcast. This day, December the 26th. As always, my name is John Cannon. I am the editor of RGV Canvas Warriors. Sitting alongside me to the right is my senior staff writer, Vinny Davis. And tonight, our special guest, none other than STFC promoter Raul Ramos. Guys, Merry Christmas. Welcome to the show.
Merry Christmas, John.
How was everyone's Christmas? Everything go well?
Everything went well for me. Yeah, everything was fine with me.
A lot of presents?
I got a pocket knife from some guy at work. I just remembered that.
That's beautiful.
I didn't get anything.
Well, you guys got a good meal here tonight, so that's my little present to you guys, obviously. Before we begin, we want to do a recap of Borderwars, obviously. Of course, last week we opened the show talking about Borderwars. Talked about a preview, kind of went through fight by fight. And I tell you what, Vinny, before we get into our recap, I just want to say, man, this was a really, really good show. I thought that Juan did a great job, great venue. It kind of had that small town fight feel, but it was packed. I mean, standing room only, good fights. I really enjoyed it. I tell you what, I thought he did a great job.
I thought he did too. He brought in a lot of tough fighters. The matches were good. The fans seemed to enjoy it. Yeah,
they did. I heard a lot of really, really good feedback, and already Juan is he called me the next day and said he's already planning on Borderwars 3, so that should be coming up real soon. I think he's looking at about March, to put on his next show. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. First fight of the night was a good one. Joe Garcia against Richard Hernandez. And I'll tell you what, this fight actually started at the weigh-in. There were no punches thrown. But you know how when you do a face-off, Joe Garcia got into Richard Hernandez's face, and he started talking, and Richard was, kind of like, hey, man, chill out a little bit. And next thing you know, out of nowhere, you see both camps starting to go at it, and they're talking, and it was quite a show. I mean, it really, really was, and you would think it would escalate over to the fights that night. But I'll tell you what, both guys showed a lot of class when they were in the ring, and I'm going to tell you something. These guys battled tough through 4 rounds. This was a really good fight.
This was my fight of the night. I thought these guys were really, really tough. There was very little holding. They were going at it. Both of them were standing right in front of each other, just throwing blow to blow. It was an awesome fight.
One thing that impressed me was with Richard Hernandez, and you've seen him a couple times, is the left hook. He just kept connecting with that left hook, but the only thing is he didn't really follow up with anything, and I think that's what hurt him. Because he'd throw a left hook, and then Joe would come around and hit him with combination shots, and there was just no follow-up to that hook.
One thing that I've noticed about Richard after seeing him fight twice is he's willing to take a punch to give a punch. And you're not going to win a round by fights if you're willing to stand in there and get hit. I think he's got to come up with a way to avoid some of those punches that he's taking. And one thing that I really like about this guy is that he's tough, he's scrappy, and he's fearless. And those are things that you just can't teach in the ring.
Yeah, even though he lost by split decision and his record fell to 0-5, he doesn't look like an 0-5 fighter. I mean, this guy, I'm kind of rooting for him. I know he's from El Campo, and obviously Joe Garcia was a hometown guy. Joe improved to 2-0. But he's one of the guys you kind of love watching him fight and really want to see him get that first win.
Oh, he's an exciting fighter. And I mean, anytime that I have the opportunity to see him fight, because I've seen him already, I'm going to go see him. I'm going to go watch his fight because he's going to bring excitement and just bring an exciting fight.
And again, we want to congratulate Joe Garcia. 2-0, great win, split decision victory. Great way to start tonight.
And you know what? Before we go in the second fight, I did talk to Raul Tovar this weekend, and he was talking to me about Joe Garcia. He says that Joe Garcia is really a special guy, and he really thinks that we're going to see some really good things from him in the future.
Good. Yeah, I hope so, man. That's why we do what we do. It's all about, giving these guys the respect they deserve and getting their names out there so we can see them get to the next level. Second fight of the night was Eduardo Garza and Ivan Cerrone. I know that this is kind of a broken record, man, but everybody remembers Cerrone for one thing and one thing only, and that was that knockout punch against Oscar Tovar in Borderwars 1. And I'll tell you what, I really thought Cerrone would come in and really dominate this guy. But it was really the total opposite.
Right. Eduardo really dominated this fight, and he hurt Ivan in the first, in the second, and the third round. And in the second round, he got hit. Matter of fact, his weapon of choice seemed to be the left hook. Matter of fact, a lot of people You will find out, and when we're talking the left hook seemed to be
that was a punch of the night.
The punch of the night. But he hurt Ivan with the left hook in the first round. He hurt him in the second round with it. Ended up getting a cut over Ivan's right eye. And in the third round, he went down with the left hook and never got back up.
Yeah, Cerrone really never seemed to get into a rhythm at all, man. It just seemed like, Garza just came out and he continued to apply the pressure.
Eduardo said that his game plan was to impose his will and his strength on him, and it looked like that's exactly what he did.
Third fight was kind of the same way. We had David Rios. Oh, before I forget, of course, Garza won by knockout. I need to mention that. What happened, Cerrone did not answer the standing 10 count. So because of it, Garza did get the win by knockout. First win. He was a pro debut.
Right,
he improved 1-0. Third fight, we had David Rios going up against Hector Gutierrez. Rios won this fight by unanimous decision, another pro debut. This was another one. He was totally outmatched. Rios really overpowered this guy.
Yeah, the action in this one was a little slow, but you can tell round by round that David Rios was dominating this. He had a incredible fast hand speed that I noticed, and he was keeping this guy off at bay. And I would say that David Rios pretty much outclassed him.
Yeah, he did. Fourth fight of the night. This was one that you and I were really looking forward to. The debut of Ricky Palacios as a boxer. As you know, he just fought about a month ago as an MMA fighter. Got his first fight and decided, you know what? I'm gonna go pro and try my hat in the boxing ring. Did well. Dominated this guy, man. Ended up getting the win. He hurt this guy. I mean, and it showed.
Yeah, he was attacking the body over and over and over again. He was attacking the body of Juan. And also, too, we were talking about this earlier. One thing that I noticed about Ricky, I thought Ricky did very well in this fight. But one thing that I noticed about him is he's throwing these long, wide-range, looping punches. He's leaving his guard down from time to time, and he's leaving his chin wide open. He's going to want to correct that because he's going to get in a fight with somebody that's going to spot that, and he's going to hurt him with it. One thing I really liked about Ricky, though, is in the fourth round, he still had plenty of gas in the tank. He was still throwing punches with a lot of power, and if he continues to stay in boxing, he can probably move up to 6 rounds, probably by his third or fourth fight.
You would think in his pro debut he would gas maybe around the fourth round, but it didn't even happen. He continued to apply the pressure. Stayed on him, got the win, unanimous decision, obviously picked up his first win of his career. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, I think if this guy gets a 6-round fight, it's not going to affect him at all.
His conditioning is fabulous. So
I'll tell you what, the co-main event, of course, it was supposed to be Kilo Amador. Was going to be in the co-main event. Also, Angel Hernandez was, but due to some circumstances, those fights fell through. But I'm going to tell you what, you want to talk about impressive. Raul's seen some impressive knockouts. Actually, your last show, you had a 7-second knockout. Let me tell you what, man, this fight, 2 heavyweights going at it. Guajardo ended this fight in 1 minute and 11 seconds of the first round. He caught him with a left hook.
Yep.
And I mean, Villarreal went crashing to the canvas. Crashing. This guy was out cold. Ref stopped the fight. Guajardo, big win. I mean, that was a devastating punch.
Yeah, Julio came out in this fight very aggressive, throwing a lot of punches. It seemed to be kind of all over the place. And Alex was really calm, just kind of picking and choosing, picking his punches. And him keeping his cool, I think, really paid off because he caught him right on the button. And before you know it, the fight was over.
Yeah, ref stopped in, saw it right away, and he waved it off. Great win for Alex. Another pro debut, 1-0.
I talked to Alex after the fight, and he really thought that his opponent could take a good punch, but he just credits the win to the hard work that he's putting in the gym.
Oh, yeah. Then we go to the main event. Oscar Tovar Jr. and Roberto Perez. This was a butt kicking from the beginning to the end, man. I'll tell you what, Tovar looked really, really good. I was very impressed with this young man. He took this guy to school.
I think we're seeing Oscar look better and better in each fight. Ever since the first fight of the year that he lost, He came back in the summertime. He looked really good in that fight. Now, this fight the other night, he looked really good in this fight. Really sharp. His defensive skills are improving. I talked to him afterwards. He said, that's what we're focusing on, are my defensive skills. I'm trying to stay more focused in the ring. And obviously, it's paying off because those are the things that I'm really seeing. His punches are sharp. He seems to be paying attention to what's going on. And that's what happened. He got caught with Ivan Cerrone. And, he told me, he said, man, we don't want that to happen again.
Oh, yeah. Well, he caught him with a left uppercut in the third round, which dropped Perez, and that was it. That pretty much ended. He won by TKO victory.
And the thing about Perez just kept on coming and kept on coming and kept on coming. And, he's a tough guy. I definitely give him credit. But Oscar again just outclassed him in this fight.
Again, it was a great night of boxing. It really was. I mean, you would think having a lot of pro debuts on a card. Obviously, Raul, you've had a lot of pro debuts with STFC.
Definitely.
And you know what? These kids, the excitement is there. They want to fight. They want to come in and they want to put out a good show. So just like boxing as well as in MMA, your last show, you had some pro debuts. And I tell you what, you even told me yourself, even at Bike Fest, some kids really impressed you.
Yeah. Usually pro debuts, they go out there and fight, man. They're excited to get in there for the first time, and they fight. They go in there and fight. They're not very, very cerebral on their fighting yet, because they're barely starting. So they're going out there and they're fighting.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's switch gears, guys. Now, I'm real excited about this, Raul. I'm gonna tell you what. You want to talk about kicking off 2013 with a bang?
Yeah, I'm excited too.
2 big title fights, man. STFC 24. February 22nd. I don't know if you have a name for this show yet, man. But,
not yet.
But I'm going to tell you something. These people have been waiting for this show. Waiting for these title fights to happen. And you made it happen all in one show. First title fight, Danny Salinas is against Carlos Diego Ferreira for the 155-pound title. Man, wow.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good fight.
Talk about it a little bit. Obviously, Carlos, had a very impressive showing against George Cortez. He's been on a hot streak. He's 5-0 right now. He's won numerous jiu-jitsu tournaments. Had 3 fights in 2012. Was that a lot of it? I mean, the guy's active. The guy's done well. What was the reasoning for putting this fight together against Danny?
It made sense. Carlos Diego is very, very talented. He's got a very good record, and he is going places. And so is Danny. I mean, Danny is very talented, has a lot of fights. He is also going somewhere. So I think it was time to put this fight together, and I think it's going to be an amazing fight.
Yeah, Danny comes in with an 11-4 record.
Yeah.
Obviously, we kind of laughed. I talked to him about it today, and he's kind of the old man in the business.
Yeah.
But he doesn't fight like an old man. This guy,
no.
He's coming off 2 major injuries. Back in Laredo earlier in the year, he tore his PCL against Mike Gonzalez, and then he tore a bicep ligament in his arm during training. So he suffered a couple injuries, and obviously it happens. But one thing about Danny is he battles back, and he doesn't let an injury stop him. Even when Danny was down, he just kept training and training and preparing. Danny told me right now he's at 75%, but when this guy's at 100, he's dangerous. He lives to his name, Dangerous Danny.
Yeah, Danny's got an 11-4 record. One of those fights against Larry Hopkins, that was his first loss. He took the fight the day of the weigh-in. He wasn't really trained. He fought at 205. Danny, I don't consider that a loss to him. It's on your record, but he took the fight the day of the weigh-in just to fight because he wanted to fight. And another one of his fights was against Michael Costa. Michael Costa is very, very, very good. And Danny went in there and gave him a fight, and it was a good fight. And but Danny is very dangerous. So is Carlos Diego. I think it's going to be excellent. Very good fight.
What do you see this fight going with these two guys, knowing their style?
Man, you think about Carlos Diego and you think it's automatically going to go to the ground, and it never does. He's ended submissions. He's submitted people before, but, Carlos Diego likes to fight. And I really couldn't tell you. I really couldn't tell you what's gonna happen in this fight. I have no idea. I want to just watch it.
And when you think about Danny, what do you think his strengths are?
Danny is an excellent striker. Danny boxing is very good, but he's also well. I mean, he trains with a good camp, and he trains with he trains with black belts. He trains with wrestlers, and so he's a mixed martial artist. Just like Carlos Diego is, and I really couldn't predict where this fight's going to end up. Wherever it does, it's going to be amazing.
Well, I'm going to tell you, one thing about Danny and Carlos, neither of them are talking any trash, unlike the next fight we're getting ready to get into. Yeah. But I talked to Danny today. And
they're kind of getting overshadowed.
Yeah, well, I got a little fire from Danny because Danny told me today, we talked for a little bit, and Danny told me nobody's giving him any respect in this fight. Everybody's saying that, he's too old, the injuries that he suffered, it's Carlos Diego's time, basically. And Danny's like, you know what? They did the same thing when I fought Ivan Perez Ruacaba. And look what I did to the guy. So he said, you know what? I want people to underestimate me. Even though I'm the champ, I am the underdog. But I guarantee you, come fight night, just keep bringing it. Because he even told me, it's pissing me off.
Yeah.
And Danny, what pissed off Danny Salinas is scary.
Danny's a tough guy, man. Danny, I have nothing but good things to say about Danny. He will not turn down a fight. He will fight anybody, and that's a good thing about Danny. He is a fighter, and he's very, very talented. I mean, I remember when we first started, he was fighting at 205 pounds. Now he's a 155-pound champion. I mean, that takes dedication. Nobody not just anybody can do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
but same with Carlos Diego. He's been very active as well. Danny only had one fight this year, but you look at Carlos, he has 3. And out of 5 of those wins, 4 of those by submission.
Oh, yeah. Well, Carlos Diego is a high level jiu-jitsu guy. I mean, he is top echelon in jiu-jitsu. So,
yeah, he's one of the best. I know a couple of people I've talked to, they've been to jiu-jitsu tournaments, and everybody has said he is the best. One of the best, if not the best, jiu-jitsu fighters in the state of Texas.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's up there in the United States. I mean, he's a very, very talented jiu-jitsu player. So, but it's not MMA.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. Now, I'll tell you what, again, there's a lot of excitement in this one. But, boy, man, this fight hadn't even started and already fireworks exploding.
Oh, yeah.
Daly and Trevino. Trevino's moving down.
Yeah.
To 170. Trevino was at 185-pound champ. Wants to move down. Going to fight Daly. Man, the trash talking's already started, Raul.
Yeah.
I kind of got upset because you and I talked a couple weeks ago or about a week and a half ago that we were going to break this news on the podcast.
I tried.
Well, Daly and Frank just can't seem to keep their mouth shut, know. But I'm going to tell you something, man. This fight, wow. I mean, what started off as a little, he said, she said, is really escalating to some bad blood.
Yes.
And it goes back, too. This goes back.
Yes, this goes back, way back. When Daly defeated Abram Torres for the first time. Frank was a little upset. He got up there, called Daly out. Frank was 185. Frank at that time was fighting at 205. So we didn't plan to put the fight together because I didn't think Frank was ready to make that big weight cut. So we kind of just put it aside, and Daly fought a couple more times. He won. He got the belt, and he just did. He's doing a great job. Well, suddenly Frank starts dropping weight, wins the 185-pound title, destroys almost everybody he fights.
Destroys is the operative word.
Yes, and then he suddenly calls me up and tells me I'm going to 170. So, I start kind of thinking to myself, 170, we got Mr. Joseph Daly, hasn't fought in a while. I think it's time to do it. So,
yeah, I'll tell you what, man. You and I talked a little bit, and we're kind of like, what should be the main event here?
I have no idea.
It's hard to say, man. You've got 2 great title fights. Again, we looked at Danny, we looked at Carlos Diego, but if you look at it, Frank's been on a hot streak. Frank's undefeated. Frank's 9-0. And you've said it best. He has destroyed his opponents that he's fought. His last couple of opponents.
Yeah.
He's hurt them.
Yeah, he's hurt. He's fought some big guys, man. I mean, when he was fighting at 205, I remember Frank's pro debut was against Joe Wagner, guy from Austin. We're sitting at the weigh-ins, and it's me, Frank, and Abram. We're sitting down, and we see this big guy walk in, but the guy was huge. I mean, I'm talking big guy. And Frank's like, man, I wonder who that guy's gonna fight. I didn't know what the guy looked like. I knew his name was Joe Wagner, but I didn't know what the guy looked like, right? So we start doing contracts, and then I'm like, they're going to the weigh-in, and I'm Joe Wagner, and the guy gets up, Frank Trevino, and Frank's like, oh my God, me? You're serious? I'm gonna fight that guy? And Frank ended it in the first round. I mean, Frank hit him, the guy went down, got him in an armbar first round. I think it didn't go past 2 minutes. So,
watching the interviews that you posted on the Facebook, if you listen to Joseph Daly, he's very confident that he's going to finish this fight with a knockout or a tap out.
I love the kid's confidence. He has the tools to do it. He is a fighter, but he's fighting Frank though. Frank, I think in 9 fights, I've only seen him be hurt once. And then right after that, he finished the guy.
What do you think is, we see Frank, we've seen him in his past fights, but what is it that makes Frank so special, you think?
I think a lot of people underestimate Frank. They don't think he's going to be as fast as he is. They don't think he's going to be as strong as he is because, I mean, I don't no disrespect, Frank, but he's not the best. He doesn't have the best physique in the business, though, So I think people underestimate him. With that. And then they get in there and they're like, wow, this guy is really fast. Wow, this guy hits really hard. And he just surprises them.
One thing I am going to say about Daly is obviously I know, he's talking a lot of stuff, but he can back it up. I remember this kid in high school when he wrestled for Westlaco High. This guy came from Nick Glapa, who was one of the greats, man. A great coach, or John Glapa, I believe. Great coach. And I'm going to tell you something. This guy went to the state semifinals, Daly.
Yes.
And he probably could have won state. The only reason he didn't, they had to stop it because he had a cauliflower ear. They wouldn't let him continue on. But I'm going to tell you something, man. He comes from a very, very strong powerhouse at Westlaco High with wrestling. And, being that he worked with Mike Valle in Muay Thai as well, the guy's impressed me. The guy has really become a really, really good, well-rounded fighter. And I know a lot of people see Frank taking this fight, but don't underestimate Daly. Because I know we talked about Kano Gregor, and we thought Kano was going to destroy him. And I tell you what, Daly really took it.
Yeah, and Daly was rocking that fight. He got caught. He went down. He recovered. And he finished the fight. It was a split decision against Carlos Diego. I mean, he did amazing. That fight could have gone either way. I think that fight could have gone either way, and he is very talented. But so is Frank. These two guys. That's why the fight has so much anticipation, and everybody wants to see it because they're both very talented fighters, and they both can end the fight in different ways.
Oh yeah. Now, who else is on this card? This alone is a selling point.
Yeah.
But who else will be fighting on this card?
Right now, I got some names in mind. I don't have the fights put together yet, but I do have another fight that is put together. It's going to be Clemente Young Menguito against David Salazar from McAllen.
Oh, wow.
And he's they're fighting. They're also in there.
Wow.
Menguito, last fight, did good. Very good.
Yeah, I didn't get to see this fight, but I did the story on Clemente and had a really good talk with him. And just to get an idea of what kind of a background he had was pretty impressive. He has 13-0 as a kickboxer.
Yeah.
And then coming into this fight and
he knocked out the guy pretty. He had the Oscar
Ortiz.
He had to go to the hospital.
Wow. Yeah, and the guy's, 38 years old, I believe?
Yeah, he's 38.
38, looks like a 22-year-old
He's
kid.
in his prime, man.
Yeah, looks like a young boy. So
keeping in MMA, Raul, you're very familiar with this guy, Goyito.
Yeah.
Erik Perez, man. He's fighting in the another fight in the UFC, fighting this Saturday in 155 against Byron Bloodworth. Man, this kid, I'll tell you what, I remember when he fought for you. And to see where he's gone right now, he's fought twice in the UFC, The first fight was in the Ultimate Fighter where he beat John Albert, first round armbar submission, and the second one he made history in UFC 150, beating Kevin Stone in a 17-second knockout. It's the fastest bantamweight knockout in UFC or WEC history. He's won 7 of his last fights. Last fight, I believe, was April 15th with you guys. 2011, correct? Is when he fought for you.
Jason Sampson?
Yes. Oh, no, Jesse Thornton.
Jesse Thornton,
he won second round.
Before that, he fought Sampson, which I think he won the fight. Judges gave it to Sampson, but I think he won. We're all here in STFC. We're real proud of Goito. But everything he's done, he's earned. He is very dedicated to the sport. He went to New Mexico, trained with no money. He did everything. I mean, he did it all himself, and I'm very happy to see where he's at now. And I hope he succeeds and does really good in the UFC.
Same here. I know that he had said that if he wins this fight, he really would like to be looked at for a title shot. And I tell you what, if he continues on the path that he is, he's going to get there.
I hope he doesn't rush into trying to get a title shot, because I think he's fought very good fighters, but I really don't. I don't know disrespect. He's doing great. I don't take this as disrespect. But I think he needs to take it a little. He's young. Take it slow. Don't rush into things. You have a lot of time, and the UFC's there wide open. Take it slow, and I think if he does that, and he waits and takes it slow, I think he can be a champion.
Yeah, they gave him a shot. I think they gave him, a 3-fight deal. This is his 3rd fight.
Yeah.
He's really impressed. So obviously he's going to get signed. You know, and I think you said it best. Hey, man, work your way up the ladder. You know, he's doing good so far.
He does have the talent to be a UFC champion. I think so. I just hope is people that are around him don't rush him into doing things that he's not ready for yet.
And you as a local promoter have got to love a story like this, because it really opens the doors. You look at these 4 fighters right here, and these guys, they're on the cusp, man. They're right there.
Yes.
I mean, they're knocking on the door. We talked about Frank before. Frank's got the skills. Danny has still got a chance. Carlos Diego's got a chance, and so does Daly.
Yeah.
So it's great to see Goito opening the door for these guys, and now it's saying, hey, look, this guy was from the Valley. So as a promoter, you've got to feel good knowing that, hey, man, this guy has just opened a wide door for me. Now I just got to continue on.
Well, yeah, he opened a wide door for the fighters, and it just feels good to see him fight.
It really is, and we wish him the best of luck. Obviously, this Saturday night, UFC 155. If you guys want to watch it, it'll be on pay-per-view. However, we are also going to have a viewing party at Pleasures this weekend. So if anyone wants to come out, we've got tickets on sale for $10. Come out and join us. We're gonna watch the fights. We're gonna watch Goito Perez fight as well, plus the Cain Velasquez fight as well. You know, it should be a good card against Dos Santos.
Oh yeah, I think it's gonna be amazing.
Before we wrap up, obviously, guys, we always do our quick hits. I've just got a couple of them. JP De La Rosa, talked to him today. He's coming off a 4-year layoff, and he's got something in the works for February, possibly with Valley Promotions. So he's real excited about that. Of course, everyone remembers JP from the Contender Series 1, so look forward to him coming back. And Isaac Torres is working on a fight also in January in Laredo. So, Vinny, you have anything? Any quick hits?
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody on the website, you can find the poll question. We have a new poll question. And how did we state it?
Who do you feel will have one of the most successful boxing career in 2013? We did forget to put Robert Garcia on there. I've gotten a lot of response on that. We are getting it on, folks. Don't think we have forgot about Robert. You know, obviously he needs to be on there. He's working on a huge title fight. But yeah, you know, we want to see who's going to be who do the fans feel will be the guy in 2013 to carry the torch for us.
Also, our most recent stories, you can read the wrap-up of Border Wars online there at rgvcanvaswarriors.com. Also, there's a feature story just put up yesterday, how boxing's discipline saves the youth of amateurs or young people. And also, too, to find the podcast, go below the stories and you'll see the previous podcast right there, and you can click on and it'll take you to the...
Yes, please, folks. Again, we ask you, check out our podcast. Give us some feedback. we've worked really, really hard on these things, to put the Valley, give the guys the recognition they deserve in the RGV. That's why we do what we do. We sure don't do this for money, because I'll tell you what, we'd be on the streets with signs if we did that.
Yeah.
But Raul knows, I've known Raul for quite a long time, and we do this because we love the sport, we love what we do, and it's all about the Warriors, man. It really is. So, guys, that's pretty much it for me. Before I forget, I want to wish you guys a happy New Year. We want to wish everybody a happy New Year. Don't forget to make those resolutions. I'm making mine. Mine's to lose weight. I don't know. Do you guys have any resolutions this year?
Be nice.
Yeah, I guess just put on great fights for the fans. Also, it's our next fight's gonna be February 22nd. I don't think I mentioned it. So.
Yeah, I had mentioned February 22nd
okay.
in there. Are tickets already on sale?
No, they should be on sale soon. We'll announce it on our Facebook, STFC Cage Fights, whenever we're on sale.
And please, go to STFC. They have their Facebook page. Like them on there. Also, don't forget RGV Canvas Warriors. Like our Facebook page. We're working on our Twitter page. If you haven't seen our website, we're redesigning the whole thing. It's looking really, really good. Fans, again, support us. Keep it alive. Guys, Happy New Year. Fans, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
For me, John Cannon, Vinny, Raul, and can't forget Nate Cantui's in here helping us as well. Have a good night. Happy New Year.
Thank you.